Welcome back. Game number 3 of our grand finals here in the Western Division. This best of 5 now essentially a best of 3 as we're all tied up 1 apiece. Fnatic battling back and taking an impressive, very, very quick win in game number 2. Liquid once again going to land themselves the Elder Titan, but Weaver picked up for TC this time around, one of his best and favorite heroes. However, Fnatic manages to snag the Visage, a way too speciality, but certainly a strong hero in the hands of many. An early Enchantress pick comes out from Fnatic as well. To break down the draft and lend his insight and analysis as always, welcome in once again Ben Merlini Wu. And well, I'll tell you what, coming into this, we both knew it was going to be a tight series, even though Liquid was considered the underdog. They got that early game 1 win, but Fnatic certainly no slouches. They've come as long a distance as they possibly could through our bubble race playoffs to meet in this grand finals, and it really wouldn't surprise me at this point to see this series go to 5.
I'm a bit surprised that Team Liquid hasn't gotten back to the second pick Clinks. I think it worked out very well for them in game 1, and Fnatic just going to ban it out every phase or every time in phase 2, similar to how Liquid bans out Wisp every time in phase 1. So already this draft fairly even, I say. Enchantress is very annoying to deal with too. It's much better at early roaming than Chen is, and I think the Elder Titan may be even under more pressure this game than last game.
One thing I like about the early Enchantress pick as well is it makes it a little more dicey to pick up a Chen in the second phase, and Liquid does run the Chen to very great effect. So picking a Chen into an Enchantress just can be a little tricky because of what you just mentioned, the fact that she is more effective as a roamer. Chen really more of a stabilizing anchor kind of a hero who works better in guns forward kinds of lineups. And Liquid, they have the potential to do that if they want with the Weaver and the Elder Titan pick. But I like to see Liquid getting TC back into his comfort zone. Weaver is arguably one of TC's most successful heroes post 6.79, and one we usually see him not make a lot of mistakes on. And we certainly saw him not come to play in game 2, or at least not come to play to his standard, his normal standards, as his slaughter play, his item decisions, and so on, just really weren't where they needed to be to derail Fnatic once they stabilized through the early laning phase. So second ban phase is almost done now. Fnatic really has a lot of options available to them. I feel like they would be very well suited to try to replicate the success they had in game number 2. Basically stabilize early, just try to get your farm, try to do what you can, and then look to outmaneuver Liquid in the mid-game phases once you get to about 15 minutes. And that's really where Fnatic shines as well. The strength of having a core 5-man group that has been together as long as these 5 have is just how well you can work whenever you start running these lineups and start running these strategies that require you to communicate even more effectively than is normally required. And their third pick going to be forthcoming momentarily. Really anxious to see what they have in store for us. And it will be a Luna.
Didn't work out for them so well in game number 1, but I think Fnatic definitely knows how to play against Liquid in the early mid. They definitely fell apart in game 1, but game 2 they really showed how they could come together as groups of supports and just completely tear down the Liquid early game. And yeah, Weaver is a much better hero for TC than the Slaughter is, seems like, and I've seen him play Weaver so many times. He does have to watch the burst from Visage though. Visage is usually a pretty good hit versus Weaver, especially if you get like a Nyx Assassin 2 to pair with him. If Weaver gets impaled out, there's just so much burst coming out that even with a Lincoln, he's very, very likely to die, even with a BKB too.
Yeah, and right now there's really no answer that Fnatic has for the Weaver, and they're going to have some options available to them. Any kind of a silence would certainly be nice against him, and still waiting to see what mid they're going to show us as well. I'm actually surprised Fnatic has gotten away from Hani's Invoker as much as they have. Liquid's actually going to go ahead and snag up the Bane. Bane, a very nice answer to Luna in general, just being able to enfeeble her early on to help negate the strength of Lunar Blessing, her aura that gives her the bonus damage, of course, being able to lock her down. And Bane's a hero that has really fallen by the wayside in the eyes of most teams. He was very, very popular for an extended period of time in 6.78. Then leading up to the International, just kind of fell off, not entirely, but became much more situational. Liquid, though, going right back to it. And we saw them have some very nice early success in game 1 with it as well. So we'll see how Fnatic wants to respond here. Do feel like they need some kind of an answer to the Weaver, though.
Wind Ranger at your service.
Surprised that Liquid rates Bane so highly, and I'm also surprised that neither team has gone for a Lifestealer pick. Like, Lifestealer is still a very strong hero, and there's not really too many good heroes versus it. I guess Wind Ranger is the best hero that Fnatic has for him right now, but still nothing that really shuts down a a lifestealer pick at all. And I guess Liquid, it won't really work too well in their lineup. They could still run like offlane Weaver or solo safe lane Weaver with a Bane and a lifestealer as well as the Elder Titan. But I mean, that just is so common, right? And with especially with the Storm Spirit pickup, and both these teams have great Storm Spirit players.
Yeah, it's right now Liquid. I feel like they would be very well served to grab some more AoE or some more initiation. Puck's available if they wanted to go that direction, though. Liquid, if I remember correctly, I could be off base. Well, they're actually going to go ahead and grab the Centaur, but yeah, getting up some AoE to help round out how effective they are going to be able to fight early on. This is Centaur is beginning to see a little bit of play. Really saw him. Oh, who was it the other day that played him so effectively? I want to say it was in our East Division. I can't remember who it was for the life of me, but was a really well-played Centaur that just completely run amok all over the map. And I really like the way that's going to work in synergy with Elder Titan. It's going to be able to hold target still for Weaver. And Fnatic still, unless that's going to be a Hani mid-win ranger, still most likely lacking a mid. I feel like that's really going to be the tone setter for them. And unless they decide to do something weird with their lineup so far, could end up being a Bulba mid Elder Titan, could end up being a Weaver mid. We've seen that before. Even Centaur can work mid if you really want to prioritize him that highly. But like you said, a Storm Spirit pick for Koikva might work well here. Good single target initiation, someone to jump on Luna and create that early gank potential that you want to have to hold down a Luna like we saw Team Liquid do early in Game 1.
And Gyrocopter picked or banned out from Fnatic, so I guess they're scared of a TC hero. I think there's it looks like TC is probably going to pick the Weaver here, so yeah. I'd be more scared of a Quickva hero.
Yeah, that's kind of, I think you and I are on the same page there. And Fnatic still looking for the mid. We see the Bat banned down in that 5th position. Fnatic probably could have benefited quite mightily from a Bat, as they already have the Enchantress to give them that early roaming potential. So this is a very early aggressive lineup for the most part. Luna, I think, is there's that Invoker we've been talking about so far all day today. Getting Hani the Invoker, I love that pickup. Gives them a hero who can work well in a variety of situations. Gives them a reliable hero coming out of mid. And a little bit of counter initiation with Tornado, of course, once he does begin to skill up the Wex. But I don't really think this is going to be a game where Luna goes Midas. I think that Fnatic's lineup is very much going to rise and fall on their ability to hit a timing window in terms of capitalizing on the mid-game potential of the Enchantress, the Wind Ranger, and the Invoker in particular.
Yeah, I think they have a really good mid-game lineup, especially with all these summons, too. They have Enchantress summons, they have Visage Burst summons, as well as the Force Spirits. That's a lot to deal with, and Liquid doesn't really have too much to deal with it. Centaur is nice and all, but I think a Stampede can get taken off with Tornado, so Invoker could go a Quaz Wex build, although Hani typically does go for that Exhort build. So Centaur is nice. It's also nice setup with Bane. They have so much burst, like Sleep into Hoof Stomp and Brain Sap and Double Edge. That is dead anybody, unless you interrupt it with something like Visit Bird Stun or Wake Up to Sleep or something like that. But going with the Witch Doctor Centaur, interesting picks from Liquid.
I'm really looking, like that's something you're going to have to break down, because I mean, I've seen Witch Doctor a few times in competitive play from a caster's point of view, and the hero does what the hero does. I mean, whenever you talk about if you're able to catch 2 or 3 with a stomp, then throw out his cask and certainly get the ulti down with Maledict up, that can be devastating, but it's one of those theory craft kind of things. It's a lot easier to imagine that in your head than it is to actually execute. And outside of that, I mean, the hero does have decent lane harass. He has actually a pain in the ass to deal with in terms of just pure lane harass. But outside of that, he has a lot of weaknesses. I mean, you're just not going to get a whole lot out of him in terms of lockdown unless he's set up correctly. I mean, and yes, you have the Elder Titan Stomp to go as well to set up good casts that'll continue to bounce around. But from your point of view, I mean, let's take a look at that from a higher level sort of analysis. What do you think they have in mind here?
Not exactly sure. I mean, Witch Doctor is like okay. I think one really nice thing about it is that his stuns do last a very long time on creeps. I think it lasts a pretty long time on the Visage Birds too. But for the most part, you generally don't want your cast to get hit summons, and especially without a single melee hero on the side of Fnatic, I don't think that Witch Doctor is a very effective pick here. But he is very good at picking fights away from towers too, if Liquid wants to choose that route. Like if you take a 5-on-5 engagement where there's no creeps, no lane creeps, you'll usually win just because of the power of paralyzing cast. Centaur, he's very useful versus mass slow, which Fnatic has a few. They have Ice Wall, they have enchant from the Enchantress, maybe like a Firbolg slow and the Grave Chill, which is annoying, but I mean, you could just get like a Darkseer if you're really worried about slows. And he's nice to be like up front and personal, but he's really going to need a Blade Mail or a BKB or a Pipe if he wants to deal with the Eclipse. You can't just like walk into Eclipse for the most part as a Centaur. Maybe at like level, when Luna's level 7, but at level 11 and beyond, that damage is just a little bit too much. And they do have a lot of burst and gank potential, but they really have to execute well. And Liquid's lineup is much more difficult to execute than Fnatic's.
Well, big surprise out the gate is it will be Koikva on our Weaver. We're going to have another quick pause. But looks like they're still having some kind of an issue. TC is going to be farming the Centaur, and if I had to guess, I would imagine they may end up running another offensive tri-lane here. To come back around to an excellent point you made that I think builds into a bigger overarching thing with this Fnatic lineup is how many summons and how many creeps, etc., they're going to have at their disposal to help push towers safely. They're going to have the Visage Familiars, as you pointed out, Enchantress creeps, as well as Hani on the Invoker having the Forged Spirits. They're also going to have Alacrity to throw onto Luna at one point or another. And we've seen time and time again how quick Luna can work in a mass range lineup. And when you talk about mass range, guess what? It's all range for Fnatic right here. So you're going to be talking about early lane phase damage output with even just 1 point into Lunar Blessing, because it is just a flat damage bonus and not a percentage bonus, meaning it doesn't scale as well late, but certainly makes her and any heroes, in particular ranged heroes, feel much more potent in what they're able to do to any kind of enemy aggression. And we actually have a chance to maybe see some early action as TC's leading the charge and his entire team bringing up the rear behind him as they head towards the dire jungle with Fnatic already moving that way as well. They're actually going to go ahead and separate No-Tail and Hani out. And looks like, yeah, never mind. They're going to double back and take their time. But Centaur Warrunner is a hero I've been saying for a while. I think has a lot more room in competitive than we've seen him have. And can you remember off the top of your head who it was we saw play that the other day? I just remember it worked out really, really well.
I do not remember.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was one of our Eastern matches, like in our Eastern bubble race first.
Oh, yeah, it was. I remember it was versus a Weaver, too.
Yep.
Maybe it was Mu. It was Tongfu, I think.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah.
XTT of the Centaur.
Yep, and it was a solo off-lane Centaur at that, and worked remarkably well. But as the horn blows, let's take a look at who's handling who as we kick off Game 3 on our Western Grand Finals. Team Liquid and Fnatic battling it out for a spot in Vegas where they'll join LGD China, Vici Gaming, and Alliance. And in their bid for our $50,000 prize pool. Starting with Liquid, we'll have TC on our Centaur Warrunner. He's setting up shop in the offlane. Looks like he'll be joined by his supports. Koikva will be farming up the Weaver. Have seen Koikva on Weaver before, I think. Can't really remember, but it seems like I've seen him do okay on this hero at some point or another. The Witch Doctor, really the surprise pick here. That'll be handled by Fluff and Stuff, setting up shop in that top lane as well. Bulba will be taking the Elder Titan mid, and that's something worth talking about. We'll get to momentarily.
Fluff is already smoked.
And Bane will be played by Waitu. Fluff smoking has yet to, never mind, did put a point in a paralyzing cask. And yeah, there it is. Thank you very much, our stats guy. 9-2-9 on XTT's Centaur Warrunner. And Fluff's going to go ahead and smoke on past mid, so it looks like he may decide to head down to bottom. On the other side, though, we're going to have Fly handling our Visage with Era farming up the Luna. There's going to be a Grave Chill on the Koikva, and they'll do what damage they can. But it looks like it should remain stable. The Enchantress will be played by No-Tail. He's actually making
he scouts out the smoke gank from the Firbolg, too. Very nice play from Fluff. He's looking for No-Tail.
And No-Tail able to run him out of the jungle right there. And as you mentioned, No-Tail will be on the Enchantress, who he was playing Chin last game, had a great game there. And Trixie will be playing on our Windrunner, solo farming the safe lane with the Invoker, taken mid by Hani. And really, Invoker, one of those heroes, it is kind of a signature Hani hero.
Yeah, it definitely is. And bottom lane, there already is a sentry there, so Fnatic doing a very good job of babysitting Fly. Fly doing very well in terms of CS. Number 1 right now. Koikva needs help. He's 2-0 on CS now. He is hurting a lot. The constant Grave Chill harass from Fly is a little bit too much for him, as well as the sentry. So I think that Fluff needs to make his way down there, drop a sentry, and secure the lane for Koikva, because as it stands, he is very likely in a position to give up a first blood.
Koikva giving some decent harass to No-Tail here. Has him down to half health. It gives him one more parting auto attack on the way out. We can see Hani getting a lot of attention here in mid. Fluff has shown his face a couple of times, and Bulba doing quite well, sending a 10 CS to
just
Hani's
engage on top.
Up at top, we're going to see the stomp following the Nightmare on the Trixie. And Trixie, barely. Oh, wow. Could not have cut it closer. Wind Run expired just as that auto attack connected. If that had expired so much as 1/10 of a second later, that would have been first blood. As it stands, though, Trixie able to keep himself alive at least a little bit longer.
Yeah, and they're already putting pressure on this tower on bottom. Koikva looks like he may be in a little bit of trouble.
He's got mana for Shikuchi. Fluff's right behind him. And here comes a hasted no-tail. Yep, they're going to probably just engage on Fluff now. And Fluff, hanging around to help secure his buddy's safety, ends up being our first blood instead. And that's just Fluff underestimating no-tail. And first blood goes the way of Fnatic.
Radiant's bottom tower.
Yeah, the early Enchantress pick we're really working out for no-tail right now, and that is just so threatening too, because he doesn't really care about his creeps. He can have multiple creeps up at once. He can threaten mid because they can easily kill Bobo with a cold snap, and they can even kill bottom with a well-timed net too. So Liquid does not feel safe in this early game at all, and yeah, Witchcrafter's like okay, but level 1 it just is not that great at trying to hinder the early run from no-tail. They even have 2 wards up in their bottom side. Bulba may actually die in.
And yep,
wow, that Furbolg.
Bulba picked off
Backside.
coming out of mid, and right now Fnatic's hitting on all cylinders. And I'm actually really anxious to watch no-tail and his build here. Whenever you have an Enchantress that has this much early success and is going to be roaming, you have a number of choices of what you want to do with trimming the Windrunner. One would think he would be the mech carrier. They're going to be giving him that job. No-tail can actually go with an ultra-aggressive kind of a build. I've seen Phase Boots Urn work out extremely well in these kind of lineups before. An Urn probably going to be on the way, or he could just end up flat rushing a Scepter up at top. We're going to have Trixie. Once again, Nightmare and TC getting in the position. There's the stomp, and he's going to save Double Edge. Oh, the shackle! Just as TC was
so
winding up. Oh, man. TC missing out on a big opportunity there. Way 2 says the hell with it. I'm going to go for it. He needs 4 seconds for Brain Sap, and they're going to end up getting him anyway. So TC gets a little payback for the sneakiness of Trixie.
Yeah, he just did not cast his Double Edge, and he tried to get a right click off, but Double Edge, he even maxed Double Edge too, so it would have been 250 damage, more than sufficient to kill the Wind Ranger, and he has ring health, and it doesn't cost any mana. There's no reason not to cast it. I guess maybe they thought that they couldn't kill him, but now that Bane is level 4 and Centaur is level 5, that's more than enough to kill him. Looks like first tower will fall very quickly on bottom, because Weaver is not well equipped to deal with this push, and neither is Witch Doctor.
And again, this push power coming out from Era, 2 points into Lunar Blessing. They're going to continue. I would be shocked if they didn't just continue to push through. I think they can afford to do so and just shut down this jungle, shut down Koikva's farm. Fluff, what the hell's Fluff going to do? He's level 1.
He's about to die again.
Yeah, this Witch Doctor pick has accomplished less than nothing. And actually, wow, Fly did not cast his Grave Chill. Maybe a little out of range, I guess. But at any rate, early game definitely in favor of Fnatic as of right now.
Yep, and No-Tail actually messes things up a little bit. Can he kill that Furbolg before 6 minutes? Looks like he's going to try and double spawn it, but that's actually a pretty big deal since this big camp is taken. If he doesn't have that, then, oh, yep, he will get a Centaur.
Yep. Good creep to have. And we're going to have yet another pause, this time from Fnatic. While we have a moment, I want to thank each and every one of you for being a part of the show, be you tuned in via stream or our ticket holders. Ticket holders information for you. I mentioned this during our downtime between games, and I can't remember if I'd already exited the game or not. Just in case you didn't hear it, all of you ticket holders watching in game right now will be receiving a very special item set coming up in the next week leading up to our grand finals. And keep an eye to D2L.gg for announcements about that. We'll actually be launching a brand new website just specifically catering to coverage of our grand finals coming up in early January. That'll be January 7th through the 10th. And if you happen to be in the Vegas area or maybe looking to travel to your first event or maybe it's your 50th event, either way, if you want to join us at Caesars Palace for our grand finals featuring the winner of this match, Vici, Alliance, and LGD China, remember, it's totally free admittance. All you got to do is just show up, walk in. It will be first come, first serve seating, of course. But you don't even have to have a ticket to CES, though it will be connected to the Consumer Electronics Show. Kingston HyperX, our lead sponsor for the HyperX D2L, will have their own booth that's occupying an entire ballroom at Caesars, and we'll be set up right smack in the middle of it. So would love to see you guys come out, would love to meet more folks, and Merlini and myself both with a lot of live LAN experience. There's just nothing like meeting fans at LANs, is there?
It's always a fun event. It's always a fun time doing that. Yeah, it's good. It's good. I haven't met too many people in Vegas, though. I'm excited to check out the venue, though. It'll be cool.
Yeah, it's going to be something new for both of us, I think. It's, most of the events you do, it's either a specific esports event where it has multi-games like, say, an MLG or a DreamHack, or it's something like the International, obviously, that is focused on just one game or one major centerpiece. And for us, we get to be a part of one of the world's premier electronic expos, and that's going to be really fun to be a part of that and to be a part of the pageant.
I don't really know what to expect from that.
Oh man, go to Wikipedia and take a look at all of the inventions that have made their debut at CES throughout history. Like the original camcorder was debuted at CES way back in the day. Like I looked at them the other day, and not a whole lot more come to mind, but basically things that in their time were totally paradigm shifting in terms of electronics have debuted at CES in the past. So it's a pretty big deal, and it's certainly a big honor for us to get to be a part of all of that showmanship and pageantry involved in that. And special thanks to HyperX, Kingston HyperX, I should say, for giving us the chance to do that, and certainly for being our lead sponsor for what has been a unbelievably fun D2L season 4. And there we go. Nahaz right on top of things as always. Here we go. Fly and No-Tail going to try to track down Bulba behind the tier 1 stomps there. Bulba in trouble. And there's the Stampede as well. Not that it was needed. Fly locking the kill down with one more Soul Assumption. They do manage to kill off Era at bottom, though, so Fluff and Koifa get a little payback.
Yeah, Bulba not having the ease time 0-2 and 0, and No-Tail has just done so much work around the map, for, killing Fluff for first blood on bottom, killing Bulba twice, one with just his creeps, and yeah, this is why you ban out No-Tail's Enchantress. But I mean, Liquid, they did have a lot of problems with Trixie's what was the last game? Nature's Prophet. So I don't really know what Liquid should ban, just because they play Wisp really well, they play No-Tail's Enchantress really well, and they also play Furion really well. So Liquid kind of screwed out in bans for the first stage. But getting back to the game, Centaur looks like he may be going for early Vanguard, but it could be a Hood. I would definitely say that Hood's a lot better here. Well, I guess Vanguard's not that bad either. You have the Visage Familiars, or Visage Familiars, as well as the summons that you have to worry about and tank. No-Tail going for that early Midas build, pressuring another tower in mid. They need Boba to spam out his Spirit. No-Tail is really low though.
And we're gonna see.
He just straight up dies.
Yep, and there's going to be Hani caught with a Nightmare from Way 2. They're gonna follow that up with a nice set of kills. So just like that, Liquid leapfrogs Fnatic in the kill lead. And coming in, I said I didn't think we'd see Era go with a Midas build. He still could, I suppose, but with Tread's Bassi up, don't know that he would, especially given how successful that bottom lane was. I would think if he was going to get it, he would have gotten it a while ago. I really am not a fan of the Midas pickup on Enchantress. I feel like No-Tail was being very active, was getting himself in a good position to grab some very essential items, even if you wanted to just focus on him, getting an early mech on him, making him more aggressive, rushing a Scepter, something like that. Instead, getting the Midas, it'll certainly help if the game goes longer. And that's always a decision to make, opportunity cost. Is it worth it for us to give up what we could be building on in terms of mid-game advantage in order to secure later game utility or what have you? TC going to be there to rush down Trixie, stomps there, and Wind Run was already used. So he dies. Fly comes in, going to look for a return kill on TC. He's being healed by Fluff, and Fly not going to have vision. And Fluff healing through it, so Soul Assumption still not enough. And they managed to make it away unscathed. Nice play and very good management of health bars there by Fluff and stuff on the Witch Doctor.
Yeah, Stampede is not enough to run away from Stampede. Or Wind Run, is not enough to run away from Stampede there. Although he was pretty darn close. And looks like Era will get a solo kill on bottom. Weaver, I guess, playing too aggressively, but he doesn't have any items. Why is he playing aggressively before he has his Midas? And Era just had Eclipse, so it was clearly just like a tower dive. So I have no idea what Quick was doing there. He just needs to farm up his...
Wasn't even a tower dive's the thing. It literally happened like right here. And he basically, he got some damage done. Shikuchi threw him, decided to stand around and auto attack after tossing out the swarm, and Era just said, that's fine, popped Eclipse and ate his face. But up at top, Fnatic going to continue to try to take towers. Tier 1 now under assault. There will be a rotation from Liquid. Way 2 making his way up the river under cover of smoke. Bulba looping around from behind. Way 2 still hasn't had his smoke popped. And looks like Fnatic not wanting to oversell it. We'll go ahead and back off up here at top, at least until they get some more support as Era does TP in. I really love their... Is that a Midas? Yep, they actually are. They're going Midas Dota. 3 Midas is going to be out on the side of Fnatic alone.
Yep. Bulba just holding down mid. They kind of need a 4 top. Way 2 gets caught out.
If Way 2 survives here, they will end up cleaning him up. That was actually way off on the power shot from Trixie. And Trixie will be able to make it away, so they go 1 for 1.
Maledict.
Not quite enough. Tell you what, Trixie's been walking between the raindrops here early, hasn't he? How many times have we seen him make it away with no HP?
Yeah, really unfortunate for Liquid that they can't kill him. But yeah, if they get that first kill on him, he wouldn't be this high level. I think one less level from him, or here's Stampede. They want to go on Era.
There's the casket. TC catches up, stomps there, and cleaned up. And TC once again has to run and hide.
It's the exact same thing.
Yep.
TC trying to escape, and Fluff just barely escapes with no min. That's the exact same thing that happened. And they also get a kill on mid due to Bane just hitting level 6. That was so important that Bane hit level 6 before he died on top. I was looking at his experience. He was like 6 and like 5 to 10% in. And now he's level 7 and almost a half from that. So that was a really big kill and kind of punishing Fnatic for going so many Midases.
Yep. And that's, again, kind of shocking to me. I feel like Fnatic has a great, and we both talked about it, they have so much mid-game potential. And negating that, and, you know, understandably, Midas, great item, does what it does, but you're sacrificing a lot at this stage of the game when you could have had, I mean, at this point, I mean, you take a look around, Windrunner, yeah, she's got, are you seriously? 4 Midases. Glove of Haste is picked up on Trixie. Yeah, this is, okay, I mean, if you're going to do it, overdo it, I suppose.
Go Midas or go home.
Yeah, amen. And they're going to continue to rotate around, though. And Liquid, looking at their item build, Centaur did go the Hood. I actually really like the Hood of Defiance pickup because of how much magic damage Fnatic, or how reliant on magic damage Fnatic is here in the early and mid-game phases. That's a real nice way for him to remain survivable. Way 2 has yet to pick up much of anything, actually. He's got something flying out to him. It's actually going to be an urn, skipping arc boots or anything along those lines. And it's going to be a double urn, actually, coming out.
There's smoke from like 10 units over here.
A veritable company of Fnatic heroes and minions making their way towards mid. A lot of attention being given to Bulba. Bulba's halfway to level 10 right now, so he's got maxed out Ancestral Spirit and Natural Order. And
Chicken's gonna die. That's actually really fortunate, I think. Oh, they won't even get the chicken. Wow, it saves Bulba's life and it survives. That is ridiculous.
A little bit of indecision there.
Get that regen on that chicken too. Gets the ring of health regen.
Does it? I actually didn't know that. That's interesting. That's fun, actually. But at any rate, Fnatic missing out on a couple of opportunities. They are going to go ahead and try to take advantage of one now, though. Liquid out of position. They're going to take a run at Roshan.
Yep. Straight into the Roach pit.
And this should drop pretty quickly. Hani hitting for some pretty solid damage. And this is like, if they're able to get this Roche.
They're around there. They're sending Spirit in. They know. It's at half HP.
Windrunner finishes.
Oh, look at that damage from the Astral Spirit. They're all like half HP, and they already used the Nature's Attendance.
Sure would be nice to add a mechanism, wouldn't it? That 4th Midas. Really worth it. Here comes TC stampeding up to the high ground. Going to need a cold snap and will end up dead because of it. And yeah.
Why would you rush up that hill? That's such a bad idea. I think he should probably buy back. It only costs him 400 gold at this point. So buy back, TP, and defend Roshan because it's not worth giving him a free Roshan like this. They should have used Astral Spirit to scout too. They just jumped the gun. They have other skills to scout just like the Swarm. So yeah, TC a really big misplay there. You can't walk up that choke.
Yep. And this is an unbelievably important Roshan. I mean, obviously an early Roche is a boon to any team. But because of the build Fnatic is gone, having an early Aegis to secure time for those 4 Midases to kick in is going to allow them to feel so much more secure. Knowing that if they have to, if Team Liquid decides to all in with a 5-man, they can just show up, meet them, and probably still have a chance to at least break even after the Aegis is popped, no matter how weak they might feel at the moment. That's going to just allow them to take the next 10 minutes and say, okay, farm. Don't worry about anything. Stay alive and farm, and we're just going to win by virtue of pure gold gain. And that puts Liquid under the gun considerably. Right now, Fnatic trying to clear out the Roche pit. Roche still at about half health, and Liquid has dispersed a little bit. They're going to smoke and head elsewhere. Oh, they're actually heading up to the high side just as Fnatic dips in. This is going to be a free Roshan now with that medallion being used.
I don't know why Bulba stopped doing it. Like, he kept sending his spirits in, and then the one spirit that he doesn't do, they just immediately take out Roshan. So, again, another silly mistake by Liquid there. Bulba should just keep sending his spirits in. It's not worth getting the rune to give him a free Roshan. They might not even get this tower in exchange.
And here they come. This is a huge advantage for Fnatic. And Cask gonna get a couple of stuns off there. And Liquid still hanging around. Looks like they want to take a fight. Now would be a good time. Fnatic not in the best shape. They will go ahead and deny the tower, though. And again, they're going to be able to just fall back and farm for quite... Oh, Era
Way too.
Caught out in the Aegis pop. That is such a good catch. Way too right there, making up for the mistake that Bulba made and not sending his spirit in. So one lapse in judgment made up for with one really good play. And I'll tell you, Way Too Sexy is so good on support, man. Like, he's always making plays.
I'm surprised he had vision. Like, this was like, that's a really long range grip, especially during nighttime. He's cutting it close there. He didn't have reserve reward, so no vision gained there.
And with that, Fnatic once again going to be a bit more under the gun. They're going to have to try and hold their towers up while those Midases wait to kick in. This tier 1 bottom not in the best of shape. They may try to deny it. There's a cold snap to run him off and the Stampede. Shackle will end up latching. That caught Koikva too. There's a Nightmare on the TC to buy him time. Deny from Luna. And here comes the Earth Splitter. Fly caught in no man's land. Blown up as the earth shatters beneath his feet. And Liquid, once they continue to press this, look how much damage is on that Spirit. And Koikva's, yeah, that was actually Koikva's Swarm minion that ended up getting the kill following the Ancestral Spirit. Bulba way over leveled from having gone mid. And they take the tower and take a couple of kills on top.
And a Blink Dagger on TC too. That's really big because if you've been looking at these engagements, he's been getting stunned out. Oh, TC may actually die here.
Here comes Way Too.
Not.
And there's a cold snap. Shackle doesn't latch, but Era able to track down yet another kill with the Eclipse. And so annoying trying to chase someone down while the Cask is bouncing. Here comes Bulba.
He might get like an uphill grip again. It's up in 3 seconds.
Up there's a 4-step to get Hani out of the way. And Nightmare onto Era. Ice Wall goes down. They're going to try to follow this up. They do manage to get the Brain Sap kill. There's a Soul Assumption on the way to, but he survives through it. And Bulba adds another high priority kill to Liquid's tally. Shackle won't latch. Fluff, though, caught out. A lot of back and forth tug of war here in this bottom lane, and Way Too may end up dead because of that little hesitation. He stopped for a second, and Bulba will cut to the north. Visage Familiar might have spotted him. Nope, never mind. But a little bit of payback as Fnatic's able to clean up a couple of the supports. Bulba still hanging around. Needs to be careful now. Spotted out and walks right into the entire team. Gonna eat. Oh, there's the stop from TC and it whiffs. They end up dropping Bulba, and TC slowed down from Hani's Ice Wall. They just simply don't have the damage or the HP to re-engage him.
He can still blink and stun Trixie. Maybe he has Stampede up in 6. He can potentially go for it. It's a really long shot, though. Real big. Yeah. He just needs to get a double edge on him, though.
Here comes the TPN, and Trixie jukes him out. Oh,
TC. Oh, no.
And Era there to pursue him out. TC has been having a rough series. There's really no other way to say it.
Yeah, he really has.
Couple of.
He's been getting juked around towers like nonstop.
There's just a couple of hiccup moments. I mean, his Slarter play not that great.
Well, it was him getting caught out there in the first place. That's what set the chain of events to him getting picked off, Witchstalker getting picked off, Bane dying, Elder Titan dying, him dying again. He pretty much caused 5 deaths just by being out there. He had his Blink Dagger. I don't know what he was farming for, so he's just getting way too greedy with these heroes, and I think he does better on non-active carry. Centaur is a pretty active carry. He's doing okay this game, but he really shines on that Weaver role. I think Koikva may be much better suited to play Centaur.
Koikva time lapses out of some damage. No tail has to pop. Nature's Attendance. Nature's Attendance just makes it impossible to kill Enchantress early on in the game, especially when there's 4 points into it.
He has 587 HP though. Like a natural, an Ancestral Spirit with Natural Order will take him down a half immediately.
And things beginning to stabilize at least a little bit. We're at 19 minutes, 30 seconds in, just short of 20. Taking a look at the gold graph, we can see Fnatic does manage to maintain a gold lead, as they should, with 4 hand of minuses up. And they managed to get those return kills, which was nice. The Tower War, a break-even affair as of right now. Check that, actually. Top tier 1 still standing for Liquid, so they're 1 tower ahead. But, I mean, let's put you in Liquid's captain share here, Merlini. You know you're up against a mass Midas strategy here. Do you just continue doing what you're doing, or is there some... basically, what is your panic moment? At what point do you say, okay, we need to have X accomplished by X time?
By Fnatic? They just need to get...
Liquid. On Liquid.
Oh, Liquid? Oh, Liquid, they... I don't really think they're under that much pressure. Like, Weaver needs his Lincolns, which he has it if he just buys it right now. But they just need to make sure that Fnatic doesn't get the next Roshan. That's pretty much the most important thing in the next 5 minutes. They're, like, taking good engagements, even though Trixie gets cut out.
Yep, Trixie. Dead to rights. Visage Familiar stuns are there, but a smidgen late. And Fnatic tucked up under their own tier 3s. Now, there's going to be a stomp that catches a couple. Earth Splitter right down the middle. They will be able to run away from it, but Stampede, as TC decides to dive out Era, misses with the stomp.
TC, he has a blink. Why didn't he just Stampede in? He could have blinked in, stunned, Earth Splitter would have hit, Arrow would have been dead because he doesn't have a BKB, and TC screws up yet another fight. Oh my goodness, TC has just not playing well today, though.
Having a rough
He's
day.
making really, really big mistakes, though. He Stampeded in. Maybe if it were like level 4 Echo Stomp, he can do that, but what was only level 11? He only has level 2 Echo Stomp. Sleep duration is not that long. The Earth Splitter didn't connect because TC did not stun, so he just needs to just blink stun and let his team follow up. He is being too greedy with his cooldowns too.
And Fnatic able to survive a little bit longer. They're hanging around in terms of kill totals overall. The gold heading back in Liquid's favor again after the death of that top tier 2. The experience still in favor of Fnatic, though only slightly, right around 2,000 in their favor. Taking a look at the relative item builds, we can see what seems to be a scepter on the way for Fluff and stuff on the side of Liquid. And finally, it would appear a pipe going to be completed by TC with, taking a look, yeah, Bulba actually going straight for the BKB after his drums, and Bane with his urn and a Staff of Wizardry up. Could be a Force Staff, could be a Scepter, depending on what he wants. Fnatic, on the other hand, those minuses still doing their work. We do see some progress being made on Era, as he is getting very close to his BKB, only about 500 gold out. Win a farming build after the Midas, no surprise. See the Helm of the Dominator pick up there. 2,100 gold for Hani. And Hani, at this point, I'm curious what he wants to grab. Will he go a mobility item, or will he go straight for a Scythe of Ice?
Ability item is better. Scythe of Ice won't really counter the Stampede Initiate, although it will give them the jump on Liquid. But Liquid should always be getting the jump on them. They have the better vision with the Elder Titan, and they have Centaur, who is pretty much the best initiator in the game by far in this particular game. Invoker is decent, but only if he goes Quas Wex. He only has 2 levels on Wex, so the range on Tornado is very, very limited. And Invoker is actually very underfarmed. Oh, no, he has 2,300 gold in the bank, and they have this... quad stack actually for Luna. So Fnatic has a lot of gold waiting in the bank for them. They have there are 1,000 up, and they have a lot of Midases, and looks like they are down 4 towers compared to 2 on Liquid. So we have 2 tower gold. Like they're all in all, they're up ahead in gold with the ancient stack waiting unless it gets jacked right now.
Liquid in position to push down one of the 2 outer tier towers remaining for Fnatic. Fnatic looks like they want to challenge this as they're moving into position. Era back behind it now. With the BKB done on Era, this could be a big turnaround fight for them, and they need it. They're in real danger of losing all map control very soon. Fluff and stuff hanging out in the woods and waiting to see if they're actually going to move out. Yep, here we go. Cold snap on the TC. There's a stomp from Bulba. Disjoints things a little bit. And Fnatic just
look
slowly.
At Fluff. He's sitting on the right, waiting for a. He can like place his ward over here and just absolutely wreck them out. Looks like the Visage will actually scout him out.
Yep, they see it now. There's a power shot to run him out of position. So some cute,
nice positioning though.
Cute strategy coming out of Fluff and Liquid. They're not about to abandon the siege though. They want to take this before Roshan responds. And here we go. There's Era. Oh, way too blown up immediately. TC with his Blink Dagger still off cooldown. did not take any damage. Tornado a little short, as you mentioned. They managed to pick off Koikva behind the fight. Actually, I should say behind the fight, behind the retreat of Liquid. And Fluff will manage to make it back to safety. Bulba, same with him. And just like that, Liquid brought to their knees. I didn't see, did they actually deny that, or did they get the kill on the tower? Yeah, and they got the deny on the tower, and Roshan going to be back up in just a few seconds.
Again, TC doesn't follow up. Bulba has these really nice echo stomps on important heroes. First the Luna before, and now on the Invoker. And they don't have, actually they have 1/4 on the Wind Ranger to save him. But if they get the stun on him and can burst down Invoker before the fight starts, then that is huge. If they just have a Blink Stomp, and Bane was already there too. So Brain Sap into a double edge, they can take Invoker out of the fight. And yeah, they have to deal with the Eclipse, which is a pretty big deal. But he should have his pipe. He now has his pipe, so the item's coming out a little bit slow for TC, but they should be able to win these fights. But just poor execution by Liquid and really nice execution by Fnatic too. They were able to coordinate the Tornado into a blast on the Weaver so that he couldn't actually cast his Lincoln Sphere. He doesn't have an HP buffer either because he didn't opt for straight treads in this particular game. I think he needs more HP though, just because like the burst from Visage as well as even small duration stuns like Deafening Blast can get him killed. A Shackle will definitely get him killed too, so he has to be pretty careful about that. And when you have Lincoln Sphere, if you're the primary target for the Shackle, if you're the first target, it will block it, but if you're the target that actually gets latched to, you won't, so he can't really rely on that to save him. I think the 1600 gold on the Mithril Hammer will be much better spent on power treads or even drums. They don't have any drums in their team, surprisingly. Oh, actually Elder Titan has one. JK.
Chat trivia. Only 2 heroes have built Pipe of Insight more than 10 times in 6.79 pro matches. Which 2 have built that pipe? Your guesses, Merlini?
That is extremely difficult. I would say Visage and Chen. That's my guess. Not a very good guess. I'm not confident in that. I would not place my rares on that.
It's tough, man. It's a tough question. I'm trying to think. I mean, whenever you're talking about pro match, you have to factor in how often heroes are played. Like, I want to say Darkseer as an option. Bristleback? Nah, has Bristle been played that much? Like, it's one of those weird things, one of those weird questions.
Probably.
I'm gonna say Crystal Maiden based on nothing but pure numbers, just on nothing but the fact that she builds Midas and is picked every game. Picked or banned, so I don't know. I'm sure Nah has one.
Bristleback sounds about right.
Yeah, Bristle is one that comes to mind. I'm just not sure how much he's been played. I mean, I've seen him played a bunch. It's just hard.
Smoke Ink on top. Koikvo may get caught out.
Koikvo?
Nope.
Staying safe. And Fnatic.
Oh, they're coming back for him. They have a gem too.
They've got a lot of wards in their own jungle. There it is. Koikvo caught with the tornado and chaining it up. Time lapse not even enough. As Koikva blown up and down for 60 seconds now. And Liquid going to try to rush down mid lane in response. Roche is back up. Clockwork. I should have known that one. Veno's a little surprising. Darkseer, Visage, and Chen are next. Okay, so we were both in the vicinity, but Clockwork is the obvious one. I'm surprised neither of us got that one.
Now Fnatic can just take down Roshan, and they're either going to have Liquid's either going to have to give it up or buy back on Koikva. And again, these roles are just not doing too well for them. Like Weaver on the Koikva on the passive farmer, he gets caught out far more than TC does, and TC has really poor engages compared to what Koikva can do. So I think they should go back to Koikva playing the 2 and Weaver playing the 1. Right now, Bulba's kind of a 3, but he does solo mid. So. Looks like this thing's already dead.
Yep. This is going to come too little too late, and they're actually going to engage off of this. There's the stomp, but Roche drops and Luna grabs it. She popped the BKB to ensure that she snagged it. And there's a power shot, scouts out what's going on. Force Staff and Hani connects to the tornado, and Bulba pops his drums. There's an ice wall, but unable to catch up with the big boy. So another Roshan goes in favor of Fnatic. And these Midases are beginning to show themselves now. It's been long enough that they're all really kicking in. It's going to be a Manta style up for Era momentarily. No tail. 1,500 gold in the bank plus a set of treads. Trixie working on a Hex. Only about 1,000 gold away from picking up the Mystic Staff, so making good progress there. Hani is going for a Hex as well, it would seem, as he's already got 2,900 gold and an Ultimate Orb.
Yeah, this game's still really close. And Liquid just kind of screwed up both times. During the Roshan, first Koifa getting picked off, and then also Elder Titan not scouting out for the first Roshan. And Fnatic has gotten, like, what, 5 Roshans, I think? Or actually, I think they gave up the third one last game, and it would have been a lot closer had they not gotten 1 and 2. So Liquid have pretty much given up like 4 Roshans when they've been in really close contests. Like, looking at the gold graph, it's still in that 2,000 to 3,000 gold range. So if there's one thing that Liquid needs to work on, it's their Roshan control and getting caught out before Roshan. They should know you always need to keep a timer of when Roshan is going to respawn, and like the 1 to 2 minutes preceding when it's about to respawn, you have to play extremely carefully and group up and expect a smoking from the other team.
Right. Liquid in general has just been having a little bit of trouble putting the 5-man together in this game. And really, I mean, they've gotten it to work for them a couple of times today, so not to say they're completely off kilter. But for the most part, I mean, TC has been stumbling here and there. They've been executing very well in the laning phase, but when it comes to these mass 5-man movement situations, Fnatic just really has been doing a great job. And that's within their wheelhouse. No surprise to see that. Hani hanging around just outside of vision. Here we go. Era throws out the Lucid Beam. Tornado to follow it up. Pipe pop. And Stampede used to try and get them away, and it certainly will. But Fnatic able to run them back onto their side of the map. And again, at this point, it's a waiting game if you're Fnatic. You've got that last Roshan. You've got another 5 minutes or so to farm up your items. More Scythe of Ices coming out. Those Midases continuing to churn out the gold gear.
Again, maybe.
And, yep, they're moving in that direction. They just finished their first Hex on the Invoker as well.
They're going to have a couple of hexes too. Windrunner's going to have one fairly soon too. She has a Midas and an Ultimate Orb and 1,400 gold. And versus double hex, Liquid, I don't think has items to cope with it. Witch Doctor is going for a Scepter instead of a Force Staff. Bane is the sole hero with the Force Staff on Liquid side. And Stampede is actually really good versus Hex Initiate though. So Fnatic has to keep that in mind. Hex is not going to be nearly as effective as it is usually. Way 2 gets caught out. Oh, no, he doesn't.
Force Staff's down to the low ground. Tornado going to be off the mark. No tail. Stunned out TC will stomp this time, and they may be able to blow him up. In the meantime, they're going to end up trading 1 for 1 as they lose Enchantress. In the meantime, now Fluff is all by his lonesome. Visage Familiar flies right over his head. Could have stunned him there. Instead, didn't. Hani going to rush up ground. There's the cold snap, and TC disjoints it with a stomp, but could be in trouble now. Out comes the ward, and the Earth Splitter did connect on a couple, but with Era leading the charge back up to the high ground with Eclipse, it's going to be Liquid who has to turn tail and run. Boba popped his BKB. Koikfa trying to go toe-to-toe. Visage Familiar is there. Fly gets off the Grave Chill. Koikfa will eat a bit more damage. There's a Stampede to try and get him to safety. TC, though, caught with the Shackle Shot. Visage Familiars withdrawing to safety. And it looks like they're content to just go ahead and let it stand as is. Koikfa and Era both very low. Here comes Fly, going to mech into Era. And Koikfa could be in some trouble here. There's another good stomp. TC making up for lost time. Has connected on 3 in a row that have been very, very well done. And looks like Fnatic will finally take a breather as they withdraw back to their side of the river.
Killing Hani there early was so important. So yeah, TC had a really good initiate. Getting that blink stop on Invoker was huge for that fight. If he survives, Koikpo is very likely to die too in that fight because of the Hex. So very nice play from TC coming out there. And yeah, that was not a bad trade for Liquid. They didn't lose a Weaver, they didn't lose Elder Titan, and they didn't lose a Centaur. Those are the 3 most important heroes. Their 2 weakest heroes died. And meanwhile, Fnatic, they didn't lose the Aegis, but still Luna was very, very close to dying. It's going to expire in a minute and a half anyways, and an Invoker took a fall, but at the same time, Windrunner still alive, 2,100 gold, just 1,500 gold away from their Hex. Looks like we see a 2-man force rotate top, but there's no way they're going to be able to kill Koikva without Revelation.
Koikva has added the Desolator to his inventory, so his damage output going to be considerable. And I really do love the early pickup of the pipe on Centaur. The damage it's mitigating really can't be underestimated in terms of just how reliant Fnatic is for the most part, at least right now, until Luna gets absolutely gargantuan. And she's getting close, make no mistake, with the Manta already up. She's going to be able to start building right-click soon. Might just go straight up Butterfly at this point to help deal with Koikva's Desolator. But until she gets pure right-click, they're still really relying on magic damage, and that pipe made a huge difference in that last engagement, make no mistake.
Yep, and Stampede is also really low cooldown too, especially once he hits level 16, which is coming up pretty close to now. Looks like just half a level. 60-second cooldown is actually pretty ridiculous for an ultimate that powerful, and he almost has his heart too, so he can just sit in the front. He still is a little bit vulnerable because he doesn't have any armor. I would like to see him maybe get a blade mail after, especially with Luna's BKB running kind of low. So once he gets that, he can just be a huge force in the front lines. And Return does physical damage too, so he can still do a fair amount of damage even through the BKB, and it will kind of own things like Familiar. Like looking at his strength right now, he has what, over 100 strength, so Return will do 70 damage a hit per unit that attacks him. That's huge.
And Fnatic smoked up. Era reveals himself out of the smoke. Liquid playing very defensive, all the way tucked back under their tier 2s. You can see just how defensive a posture they're taking right now. And again, I feel like the later this game goes, for obvious reasons, Fnatic is going to be benefiting mightily. And Hani now with the point booster, most likely going to be trying to grab a scepter. There will come a point where he can start building right click though, and you know, at that point he can become a semi carry. We've seen that happen many times with late game invokers, especially in situations like this where you have the Midas and you can transition that easily. 4,000 gold tucked away now for Era. So not far from a butterfly if that's the direction he wants to go. For now, though, Fnatic finally sick of staring at this tier 1.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
Unnecessary focus fire, but not a big deal. That ultimate is not very useful in most situations. And Boba is well on his way to an AC too, so he's going to be a pretty significant factor coming into the mid game. Weaver also has his Desolator, so the minus armor is starting to rack up on the side of Liquid. And Gold Lead's still slightly ahead in Fnatic's favor, but Liquid, as long as they can keep strong enough to contend Roshans, and as long as they're actually there to contend the Roshan, then they're still in a pretty good position, even though they are down by 2 kills and down by a significant amount of gold, and they are down to the Midas count too, and the Hex count. But you can't count out their team fight too, especially if they get a good initiate on a hero like Luna, who doesn't have his Aegis anymore, and Invoker, who is still fairly fragile with only 1500 HP. And if he doesn't get 4-step out like immediately, then Liquid can probably win a team fight if they pick him off early. But other than that, Fnatic still definitely has the upper edge in this matchup. Enchantress fairly close to her Scepter. Visage, he definitely needs his Scepter too. He's still a bit of ways, but they do need a mech.
Scythe of Ice picked up on Windrunner. That's going to make 2 on the side of Fnatic. And beginning to wonder if Liquid hasn't let this game get a little too late. They had an excellent team, and up against 4 minuses, they had every opportunity to try and make something happen. A lot of missed opportunities because of, I mean, if we're honest, not to lay it on one person's shoulders, but TC has struggled a bit. And now the Butterfly done on Arrow, while the MKB is actually not even going to be on the way at all. Koikva's already spent 1,000 gold on an Ogre Club. One would imagine he's looking for a BKB. So Arrow with a BKB of his own, and now the Butterfly.
They're going to get a third Roshan uncontested.
Yeah, they can't. Well, honestly, how can they fight Arrow right now? Like, this is a little bit of item management, item decision making.
They at least threaten. They have a really big threat with the Echo Stomp into Earth Splitter, and especially in a clumped up area like this, that's something that you can't ignore, even if you are stronger as Fnatic. But Liquid gives up another Roshan, and now they're really on the back foot, especially with the Butterfly pickup on Luna and no MKB coming out, as you said. And now Liquid just has to rely on really nice engagements from Boba. It's not really on TC at this point because I doubt that Fnatic is going to clump. But if you manage to get like 2 into the Echo Stomp and then just follow it with the Earth Splitter immediately, unless there's some nice force outs by Fnatic, they are probably going to take heavy casualties in a team fight.
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to do anything against Era. He's in such good shape now. They really have no reliable source of damage unless...
Yeah, Witch Doctor, Scepter.
That's it, baby.
Look at him go.
Look at it go. Fnatic rattling their saber down mid lane here. They're ready to fight, and for damn good reason.
They can just like sleep him and kill everyone else though. Like Era is pretty much just
caught with a stomp, but still hesitating on trying to engage out. Era being healed by No-Tail's Nature's Attendants. And Liquid hanging around the backside.
It's a very good smoke from them too. It's all about the engage.
And there's a Force Staff. Oh, they caught Era out of position. Force Staffed him under the tower. And there's the sleep and the Fiend's Grip. Can they get him? They will maybe. Yep, get the Aegis. In the meantime, the fight behind them. Fly's going to be cleaned up on the back of it. Here comes Era back up to fight. Double kill going the way of Koikva. And that Force Staff, unbelievably good. Trixie's going to be caught out as well. Tornado from Hani. Little bit late.
That was one of the sickest engages I've seen.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's not really on TC too. That was all way too. He force staffs, I believe he force staffed him and gripped him. That was a full duration grip too. So like big plays by supports here, and they are completely making up for TC's lack of initiate. Now TC has a heart, they can just storm down mid. Is there a cheese? Maybe it was used by Invoker. They don't have the Aegis anymore on Era too, so now Fnatic, after that one engagement, Liquid, man, Kings are defending that T2. That was a ridiculously good fight for them, and now they're right back in this game. Gold graph still in favor of Fnatic, but as we saw, it doesn't really matter. It's all about who gets the best engage, and Liquid, oh my goodness, that was just a
disgusting. And yeah,
he doesn't even need a BKB too. Like, I don't know why Hani didn't Tornado. He should have had it invoked, but he only has level 2 Wex, right? Or level 3 Wex. This is why I don't really like the max exort build. I think like 4 or 5 points is fine, but have it like if he were to go like 4 Quas, which he has right now, 5 Wex and 5 Exort, then he can Tornado to interrupt the grip, and then the fight goes completely differently. But Bane, he doesn't have a BKB, and you have to make him pay for that, especially with a huge long range spell like Tornado. It only has 1600 range. With 5 Wex, it's 2400 range. That is like a screen and a half.
Just to recap that fight, it was really just so well done. Arrow was camped out right here attacking the tower. They smoked Koikva, and I think someone else was with him. Bulba was kind of hanging around right here, and Wei2 was in this general vicinity. And they got vision through the smoke, and then the Force Staff on Era put him right about here. Then he was Fiend's gripped, and from there everything fell apart. It was just an amazing sequence of events.
Well, these trees were also up too, so they couldn't actually see. They couldn't actually see Bane, who was standing right there.
Yep. Well, more importantly, they couldn't see Era. Bane couldn't see Era until they got vision looking down the steps here. That's how they were able to Force Staff him. And just really well played, and really that may have saved the game for Liquid. It was getting to a point where if they lose that tower and maybe lose a couple of heroes, that might have been GG.
If they lose that engagement, they lose a Rex because they have the Aegis and the cheese, and they can just brute force them at that point. So that was just one of the best plays I've seen from Liquid this whole entire series.
18-17 as we roll past 41 minutes in. This best of 5, essentially a best of 3, as we're knotted at 1 apiece. And no sign of slowing down as Liquid able to hold that tier 2 and extend this game. Fluff with that scepter up on the Witch Doctor, as we saw in the Has indicate to us. Not a lot of times that's happened, but when it has, he's actually got a winning record. So we'll see if Liquid can continue that trend. So in a few sentences here, as both teams just kind of take their time to reset, break down what the ultra late game goals are going to be. You know, imagine you're calling the shots for both sides here, Ben. What are you telling the players on both sides?
It's pretty simple for Fnatic. They just need to get picks off with Sheeps. And then if they manage to get a Stampede off, just Tornado and then proceed to kill. And for Liquid, they just need to keep having really good engagements in team fights. They don't really have the best, they can't really pick off Fnatic because Fnatic rarely splits up. And as you can see, they're like huddled around as 5 for like most of the game. So Liquid can come back and try and farm in that department, but it's really difficult versus this many Midases. So I would say that the winning game plan for Liquid is not to split push, although they do need a split push. It's not the way their victory. It's just to have better engagements in team fights and not to get like double hex at the start, and then you'll lose a team fight from there because Luna will be able to pop her BKB. She has Manta style. Also, they also need to contest Roshan because if they didn't have the Aegis there, they would have forced a buyback on Luna, or they would have lost a T2 and a T3 on the side of Fnatic. So Liquid, be better about Roshan, have good engage, get picks off if you can. If Fnatic splits up, which they most likely won't, Fnatic just needs to make sure that Liquid doesn't get that really amazing engage and try and initiate with their massive amount of items. They have like a 4-staff Hex, they have another Hex on one Ranger too, and another 4-staff, so they need to be the ones getting the jump on Liquid.
Both teams playing very cautiously, running in big gobs. I actually saw a smoke from Fnatic that was aborted as they saw how pushed in their bottom lane was, and they all pulled back as a unit to secure this area right here of the map. And waiting on, I mean, at this point, like waiting on Liquid to decide just how aggressive they want to be. TC is huge. He's got 3,200 HP. I mean, he's massive, and looks like he's been working on his Shivas now. As Bulba, nope, check that. Bulba got the Shivas, so he'll be working on his Assault Cuirass. But Fnatic looks like they're happy to just continue to take this game late. And Liquid doesn't seem like they're too upset at the prospect either. They're just continuing to farm away. Not a whole lot of aggression on either side. Koikva
And
is.
it looks like
Go ahead.
Elder Titan actually went for Shivas instead of AC. A little bit surprised, but it is nice to mitigate the damage from Luna, and the armor on him certainly helps, although I think the minus armor is more useful than the minus attack speed, because they do have a lot of firepower with the Desolator on Weaver, and it will help his whole team out too, in case somebody else get focused besides Elder Titan.
Koikva will be spotted. Lincoln's pop. There's a Scythe of Ice. Can they catch him fast enough? Right on top of him. Shackle will latch. What a big kill. 83 seconds he's down, and he lacks buyback. Roche will be back up. Well, we'll find out. It could be anywhere from a minute or two to as much as 3 or 4. And this tier 2 under assault now. Shackle won't latch on TC. He blinks to safety. And they are losing a lot of health on that tower. Still 60 seconds that Koikva's down, and Centaur does manage to get the kill via nothing but illusions on that mid tier 2, so no more map control for Fnatic. All 3 tier 2s remain standing for Liquid. That's one big thing they have in their favor. Waiting to see how long it's going to be on Roche. 46 seconds now until Koikva's back alive. They may go ahead and rush this down and
They
figure
can delay with Echo Stomps, though. They should be okay for 30 seconds. They have the glyph, too, so it's not a big deal that... I mean, it is kind of a big deal, but it's not a big deal as it could have been, because Roshan isn't going to respawn at least... Oh, well, it looks like it's going to respawn very close to Weaver's respawn time.
Yep. And looks like the tier 2, this could work out very well for Fnatic. Yeah, they're going to take this tower, and they may immediately fall back. And if they do, and check Roshan, or if they use the courier to check...
They're going to try and backdoor this full HP tower. That's not a good idea.
Yeah.
They're wasting so much time right now. They can't even do enough damage to it, even with alacrity, because of the enfeeble on Luna.
Yep, that makes no sense to me. If they pull straight back, they would be
They
arriving
don't
at the
know that
Roche
Roshan's
pit.
up, though. They should just use the chicken to scout. It's already out there anyways.
Yep. Yeah, that's the exact sequence of events I described, is if they just started pulling straight back as soon as they dropped that tower, they would have been right about here, and then they would have had the chicken hanging out on Roshan, and they would have known and been able to go and take it very quickly while Liquid had to try to regroup. And because if you're Liquid in that position, losing that tier 2, you can't just immediately pursue. You don't know if that's...
No, they're going to go for Roshan right now,
Yep.
and Liquid has no idea that it's up. They have just such poor Roshan control, too. It's pretty astounding that they're still in this game even after giving up 3 Roshans.
Now, what I was saying is, after the drop of that tier 2, you can't just charge out all guns blazing if you're Liquid. You don't know if that's a fake back. You don't know what Fnatic's actually up to. But, yep, it's going to drop very quickly. Now, they're going to get there just in time to see it die again. They've done this a couple of times now, and down it goes. Luna gets the Aegis. Somebody needs to get that cheese. One's already up on Trixie. Now Hani has the other. And that is a huge misstep for them. Koikva dying in that top corner of the dire jungle has cost them dearly.
Yeah, I think they should put TC back on that role too. Koikva's just gotten cut out way too many times, and it is unlucky that Roshan did spawn at 30 seconds time, but again, it's a pickoff like very close to Roshan respawning, and Liquid not being vigilant about that, going for the small probability that Fnatic is going to hang around after that failed backdoor attempt on top. So, I mean, even with 4 Roshans, though, they're still in the game, though, which is absolutely ridiculous. Like, 4 Roshans and 3 minuses, you'd think that the late game is all just Fnatic is going to dominate them. But, I mean, they don't have the best late game. Enchantress is like, man, okay. Visage still no Scepter up on him. Windrunner doesn't do any damage, but provides a ton of utility. And Luna is the main damage dealer, and she is absolutely stacked. But they had to deal with Weaver, Centaur, and Elder Titan, and even the...
Koikva!
Oh, he's going to talk again.
What was he was hanging out, just kind of kicking it. He may get away because of time lapse. They have no detection for him. He's run and hid. Will they find him again? They sure will. There's the power shot. Trixie has a Scythe of Ice. If Trixie can find him again, Scythe of Ice. There's the Deafening Blast. And there it is.
Oh, Koikva. Yeah, a lot of individual mistakes on the side of Liquid. TC and Weaver, I think, have not been playing very well this game. Way2's been playing very well. I think Bova's been playing very well, too. And I'm still very surprised that they're able to hold it together, even after these, like, huge, costly deaths on super important heroes. And Weaver is going to be forced to buy back, or they're going to lose their racks.
Yep.
He should just go ahead and buy back, so... possibly he can buy back in 6 minutes time, but I guess maybe they're waiting for like a stomp to initiate too. But yeah, this build is not paying off for him because he could just BKB and run away. I don't know why he didn't use BKB there. He knows that they have multiple hexes.
That's a pretty interesting stat there because it's not based on KD, but what Nahaj just popped up. 12 and 66 since November in games where he dies more than 4 times. So that just goes to show you he has to snowball. He has to stay alive. And at this point, look at Era. We haven't even talked about how just ginormous he really is. He's essentially 6-slotted, with the Aegis occupying the 6th slot and enough to fill it with an item now. Hani caught out, though. That's a big kill. Now Fly going to be blown up, and Trixie caught as well. Earth Splitter's there. Trixie ate one of the cheese. Now there's a shackle, and somehow Liquid has managed to hold on to this fight. Boots of Travel on Hani gets him back into the fight after a buyback. Era finally gets off the Eclipse. Still has the Aegis. Does decide to go ahead and use his Satanic, and he's healing through all this damage because of it. Finally, the Aegis does end up popped, but they're going to end up dropping TC. And up comes Era once again. The buyback's being spent on both sides as TC buys back. Era forced out one more time, and Bulba going to rush him down. Shiva's used to slow down Era. He's forced to turn and fight. Way2's there, doesn't have the mana to do much of anything but die. Force Staff will prevent that from happening. Bulba going to be Scythe, though, and the Shackle won't latch, but they won't need it. Or could have used it, actually. Era being pursued out now by Koikva, doing decent right-click damage. TC's there with the Stomp, and they will be able to clean him up with a double edge. And Liquid, it cost them a lot to do it, but they did manage to hold on. Buybacks on both sides spent rather injudiciously. And Mask of Madness pick up on No Tails. So, yeah, looks like this game's going to continue to go. 50 minutes in, 21-22. The gold heavily in favor of Fnatic, but Liquid just refuses to break.
That was a lot of buybacks used. Checking the buyback status right now. Looks like Weaver used a buyback, Invoker used a buyback, and Elder Titan. So I guess only 3 used. That's not so bad. And the big thing is Luna does not have to use a buyback, and she has 5,800 gold. So if they can just wait for, I guess he could just refresh her BKB and get another Aegis, or just go 6-slotted and wait for BKB or wait for buyback and then booster travel. Then they can end this game. But I mean, Fnatic actually weren't able to take a Rax. They got half the damage on the range Rax, half the damage on melee Rax, but melee Rax will be at full HP next time they try to engage. And Liquid, they still don't have any Sheep 6 either, so their late game is just not doing too well. Bane does have a BKB. He did a very good job of controlling the Luna. First full duration sleep into a full duration grip on BKB, so he pretty much took the Luna out of the fight for a good 11 seconds on his own, which is pretty incredible, and that really is how Liquid managed to hold that fight. So Way2 with the big plays. Yeah, Koikva has to stop getting caught out there. That was the second costly one. First one gave him the Roshan, first one, yeah, gave him the Roshan. Second one cost the T3, almost the Rax, and almost the game too. So, yeah, he needs to stop dying.
Lincoln Sphere up on the Windrunner, so giving yet one more survival utility to her team. But the Assault Cuirass has come out on TC as well. So, armor reduction in play. And this has been about as good a game as you could have asked to see. Taking a look at the net worth, we can see Era leading the way as one would expect. He's almost a full 10,000 gold ahead of his next closest competitor, and that's Koikva. Koikva has continued to struggle, and now maybe looking to build an MKB. He's actually not far from it at all. He'll have it in just a few hundred gold, so that'll be a very nice pickup for him. When you take a look at the KD, you can see no real standout performers. Era's 8-4. He's best on the board. TC, despite some struggles early, has bounced back and made some plays down the stretch. 8-5 for him. And behind that, just kind of a grab bag. So a very close game, and both teams really have a chance to win coming down. I mean, again, the goal graph here is definitely in favor of Fnatic, but that's not, you get to this stage, that doesn't matter quite as much, because one big turnaround, and we saw a decent engagement out of Liquid there, one big turnaround could result in Raxes down on either side.
Yeah, and Fnatic, if they get the 5th Roshan, then Liquid, I mean, they kind of are just crap out of luck. They can just brute force with Luna at that point, just like use one Aegis and then get her 6th slot, or just buy back and then TPN, and they can't kill her 3 times. They can hardly even kill her once. Oh, she might be going Rapier. She is going Rapier.
Yep, picking up the Relic. And can have it very, very soon. And this is, going Rapier here. You know they're not going to want to do anything but wait on Roshan. And
yeah, I don't think Rapier's the best choice here, because he can still get disabled by Bane, and they don't really have enough damage to burst down the Bane through a BKB Fiend's Grip, and they don't have anything that can actually interrupt the BKB either. So Bane's going to actually be one of the most important heroes to control if he does end up getting Rapier. I can't really see him getting anything else with the Relic, though.
TC caught out. Can they bring him down? There's the ice wall. Pipe goes off. He's hexed out. They don't want to get too far ahead, though, as they know Liquid's going to be charging back out. Now the Stampede Era trying to be rushed down. Hani has to make a run for it. TC gets off the stomp, and Hani's down like that. Era with the alacrity on him. Can't even afford to turn and fight. And just like that, Liquid, oh, good Echo Stomp. Trixie will be forced staff to safety, though. Will they be able to chase him down? Not quite. Way too. Got way too far forward.
He gripped the Lincolns on the Windrunner too. That was a really close kill. If it's 3 down for them, I don't even think that Windrunner has buyback either. So that would have been a really big kill. But at the same time, Era is still alive. But now he's just sitting with a relic in his inventory, and he can't go Rapier right now because they might actually lose the racks. And Hani is down for a good 70 seconds. That might be all the time that Liquid needs to close out this game.
It really might. As you said, no buyback for him. Roche about to respond, but it's not going to matter. Losing racks here, pretty big deal. And
they should just keep going on top. And Enchantress is going to spawn in 20 seconds, but Invoker, the really big hero, still down for another 50. So very good initiation by TC, making up in these late game engagements. And now, they hesitated, dude. That was like a good 20 seconds. They didn't need to wrap around. They could have just went straight through. And now a nice engage.
Yep, here we go. Era pops the BKB and the Eclipse. TC scythed out. Era at about half health right now. Still has a Satanic available. Not even going to have time to use it. That armor reduction just doing work, and down he goes. And appropriately, the surprise pick is the one that got the damage done to bring him down. It was a Maledict. TC is going to end up dropping. Era buys back immediately. That might be enough to rush them out. And Bulba could end up dead here now. Centaur down for quite some time as well. He has buyback if he needs it.
He shackled from Trixie. He had the nice double shackle over here too on the Centaur that let Enchantress burst him down. And now Roshan is up too. So Fnatic's still in a pretty good position, but Liquid definitely got the upper hand in that, even though they lost a lot of heroes.
Maybe a little bit of a hesitation there, as you mentioned. They wrapped around instead of just going straight through. And look at that. Immediate buybacks from everyone. Knowing, okay.
They need to contest Roshan, too.
They have
to. Has a relic. They know that he has a relic, too. Oh, Abyssal Blade. Okay. Well, Abyssal Blade's not that bad either. It's not a very common pick off our range heroes, but I don't know if he was planning that from the get-go or if he just decided to get that on the fly, but it's still very useful to kill Weaver with because he only has 1900 HP, and BKB kind of makes him vulnerable versus lineup because he can just time-lapse at will. But now with the Abyssal up, he's not going to have that luxury.
Tanks him up a little bit more too, and that's always nice to have. Certainly decent amount of damage. He is hitting quite hard, as you can imagine. 400 damage a shot, and Liquid's actually going to win the race.
Fnatic, I don't know that they can do it, though. They can't do it that fast, and they have to worry about the tornado counter initiation. So Liquid can't sneak it in, not as fast as Fnatic can.
Fnatic getting into position, and as Nahaz just informed us, at least according to our stat service, this is the first time in professional Dota we've seen a Luna build an Abyssal Blade, so certainly...
Yeah, I'm still not sure whether it was like, hey, I'm going to go Rapier, oh wait, we're about to lose, I can't go Rapier, and then just switch, or if he planned that from the get-go. Still unsure. I've only gotten Abyssal Blade on a ranged hero like twice in all my days of playing Dota, and it works better than expected because no one expects it. You don't expect to be Abyssal by a Luna.
Right.
Look at TC, just solo Roshan.
Yep.
He is so tanky.
3,800 HP on him. And he's essentially, he sells his wand. He's 5-slotted, not quite 6-slotted. But honestly, Magic Wand isn't bad on a Centaur just because you need the mana. You want to be able to spam a lot. And with Blink and so on and so forth, you are a little more mana intensive than you would think. So I'm sure he'll sell it off for something bigger.
This is such a close game right now. Luna doesn't have buyback. If she dies, they lose. Yep. Invoker doesn't have buyback either, just because he doesn't have enough gold. If he dies, they also lose. Liquid, same time. If Centaur dies, they lose. If Elder Titan dies, they also lose.
Koikva dies, they lose. They have to have
buyback, though. He has buyback and time lapse, so he's the only hero that can really get back in and fight. So this is just an extremely, extremely tight and close game.
And Liquid trying to clear out some space. The Visage Familiar still hanging around the pit.
They need someone to split push top. They need to threaten the racks. If they threaten the racks, then they can draw Fnatic up there and then take out Roshan. But no one has BOTs. Koikva doesn't even have boots.
They're going to go ahead and head through the Dire Side Secret Shop. And the Forged Spirits and Familiars are all cleared out now. Fnatic left.
This is where something like the Astral Spirit is just ridiculously good because they need to be able to keep tabs on Fnatic the whole entire fight, and here they go.
Roshan down to about half health. They got to make something happen super fast. Here comes Hani in off the Boots of Travel. They're going to try to wrap around. This could be disastrous. Fluff's going to lead the way, trying to cut him off. Way 2's right there with him. Will Fnatic be able to slide away? They do. Liquid a little leery of rushing out, and wisely so. Could have gone either way, not wanting to put all of their eggs in one basket. And both teams just doing the Roche dance now.
The top doesn't actually have the T3, and now that's where that T3 engagement actually matters, because they're going to lose a free Rax if no one defends. And at the same time, if they do defend, they lose a Roshan. I think it's worth it to lose the Rax at this point to secure the Roshan. But No-Tail actually might just sneak out the Rax themselves. He has an invisibility rune 4, get caught up on a tornado. They really need a BOT hero to go over there, though. If Invoker or Luna goes over there, then they can take the Rax, no problem. Someone definitely has a TP back, and they can take the Roshan. Liquid just might go for the throne here.
Off. No-Tail in under an Invis rune, and here comes Strixie.
Yeah, is it going to be a race?
Yes, they're going to throne.
Race? Oh, shit. This is ridiculous.
There's going to be a glyph up.
Wins this race.
There's a glyph up on one side. There we go. Liquid has theirs up as well. Era going to work. Trying to keep an eye on it. Tier 3 down here. Which is it going to be? And we see Liquid down to about half up there. Which is it going to be? Looks like it might be. Will it be? Could it be? Fnatic! Fnatic brings down the Ancient just seconds before Liquid can bring down theirs.
They should have just straight for the throne, but it was still a very nice effort, and the visit versus then stopped Liquid from completing their task.
And once again, to make the obvious joke, in a game called Defense of the Ancients, neither team decided to defend their Ancient. It's decided to see which team had more damage per second against static buildings. So we're basically just playing we're playing Rampage now is what's happening. 60 minutes, 17 seconds. A long game. 25 kills apiece, 50 kills in a 60-minute game, so definitely some down periods there. And what can you say? I mean, we talked it to death coming down the stretch because there was so much time between engagements late. It was just a close game all around. I mean, and really, looking ahead with Fnatic now leading 2-1. If you're Team Liquid, my friend, going into this fourth game and what could be the final game if you don't get your act together in Game 4. What, if anything, is on your mind if you're Team Liquid, and what adjustments, if any, do you decide to make?
I think they just go with the strategy that has worked out so well for them, like prior to MLG. Just give Koikva, like Storm Spirit, a space creator, not a farmer, and give TC a farmer, not a space creator. And then after that, their mid game was still decent, but it wasn't because of TC and Koikva. It was really because of Way 2 and Bulba that they really won through that mid game. And they gave up 4 Roshans and they still were in the game. So if they maybe make like 1 or 2 less mistakes, if they had the T3 on left, they win the throne race. They wouldn't even be in position to have a throne race. And if they didn't give the Aegises, if they didn't just get caught up by Weaver so many times, if they had a better engage with Centaur a few times, the game would have been a lot different. So I think they just need to clean up their mistakes, but that's not really something that you can clean up from game to game in a specific role. So I think they should just go back to their normal roles, play what they're good at, and not deviate from the formula that has worked so well for them in the month of November. And now coming up in December, they're trying new things, which is nice and all, but in a best of 5, when the stakes are like this, you don't really want to experiment too much. Centaur is cool, Witch Doctor is cool, but tried and true is the formula for victory for Liquid.
1 hour, 17 seconds. Long game, 50 kill split right down the middle. And the race of the Ancients going the way of Fnatic, who now leads this best of 5 2-1 and is just 1 win away from punching their tickets to our grand finals at Caesars Palace in Las Vegas, January 7th through the 10th. I'm your host, Aaron A.C. Chambers, the guy lending the inside and breaking things down as always. That's Ben Merlini Wu. Thanks so much for being a part of the broadcast, guys. And just like this, Liquid now up against it, has to make an adjustment, has to do so in a hurry. And worth mentioning, too, in this example, server advantage does go with the higher seed. So Liquid unable to hold serve on the U.S. East server here in Game 3. Now they're going to be playing on Lux on Fnatic's home turf coming up in Game 4. So definitely going to be put to the test and really need to pull it together very, very quickly. We got Game 4, what could be our final game of the entire preliminary stage. Can't call it preliminary, I guess regular season probably. the best word to use. But what could be our last game of the entire D2L Season 4 regular season coming up if Fnatic can close things out. TL, though, I'm sure they want to thrill us and want to see it go to 5. We'll be right back here on the HyperX D2L Game 4 on the way. Stick with us.